33 years ago, the French government, in planning for their Bastille Day celebration, had the opportunity to invite one band to represent the United States. They selected the Florida A&M University Marching 100. In a much celebrated appearance, the Marching 100 was not only selected to be in the parade, but was put in the premier spot of the parade, the grand finale. Last week, they were invited back to Paris, this time by the designer company Louis Vuitton. The band will perform for a fashion show live at one of Paris's most iconic venues. There is also an uncanny connection between the performance in 1989 and the one in 2022. It's FAMU's Director of Marching Bands, Dr. Shelby Chipman.
First of all, hello, HBCU Game Day, and Vaughn, I thank you for this opportunity. And so we got the call, or I received the call on May 31st. I was sitting in my office, getting ready for another meeting and Board of Trustees meeting coming up. And lo and behold, this phone call came in, this number, these digits, 44-6373. And I was like, okay, what's this all about? Is it a spam call? Is it a prank call? And I was about to really just not answer the call. I really was. And lo and behold, I picked up the call, and the gentleman, Max Leader, representing the Louis Vuitton production crew and sponsoring the men's fashion show in Paris, France, is Dr. Chipman. We've been under understanding you're the director of bands, and we wanted to let you know that the Louis Vuitton Corporation would like to invite the Florida A&M Marching Band to Paris, France, all expenses paid trip to perform for this fashion show. And I got stunned in my office, and as I told some other reporters, I was about to drop the phone because I was just in disbelief. And there the story started. And now fast forward, we're putting together, of course, all the logistics, but that's how it all came about, that initial phone call. And he happened to be at that time he was in China doing some work with Louis Vuitton on another project. So this exciting event will be held on June 23rd in Paris, France. And of course, we'll be performing in the Louvre Museum, which is a phenomenal museum that, you only see on television most of the time or on social media platforms. And we've garnered 35 students, of course, that are going to be participating. I immediately had a emergency Zoom call meeting with the Marching 100 students and the staff, twofold, to appoint student leaders, one, and then two, to make this big announcement and see how we could make a decision about who was going to be able to go. And what we decided to do is we started with our section leaders and assistant section leaders. Some students are in summer schools, some students across the country. They're all over the place right now. And some students we noticed that have passports. Some students we're having to expedite their passports. And so that's how we came up with that marquee number of 35 students, 2 piccolos, 2 clarinets, 2 saxophones, etc., and making up our instrumentation that will complement, of course, that Lindsey Sargent sound, our arranger, when we go over there as we did in '89. Oh, Vaughn Wilson, you had to go there, HBCU Game Day. I tell you, that was the exciting time. That was my very last performance. I was trumpet section leader here for the Marching 100 a couple of years, and so I was getting ready to finish my student teaching, and lo and behold, great commencement or graduation gift. I got to go to Paris, France after I finished my student teaching. And of course, we went over there with 240 students, I think, under the leadership of Dr. William Patrick Foster and Dr. Julian E. White and other staff members. And we performed for the Bastille Day celebration, and that was phenomenal. And now full circle to be back on campus and being the director of bands here on campus and having an opportunity for this kind of exposure for our students first, because we cease to exist without our fantastic students. It's just amazing. And I went home and, of course, been talking to my wife every night, and we're just so thrilled that, again, FAMU, we stand on the shoulders of giants that have come before us, and we know who they are since 1887. But certainly these students, especially in the comparable Marching 100 at this time, are presenting and making their own mark on excellence. It's so important for us to marquee ourselves, and it's so important, even more important, I think, for us to value our product and our own traditions. We have the slow one here, we have the rattler, we have our arrangements, we have even now what they call the Battle of Bands. That's a major piece. But even more important, I think it's important that HBCUs continue to think about the product that they put on the field, because ultimately when that gentleman called me, the first thing he says is that we've researched schools and we've seen your videos, we've seen your clips, we've seen some of the noted performances you guys have done. And so we always tell our students here, and I give credit to Dr. Sylvester Young, former director of bands also, when we perform or we're in any setting, people are going to be seeing this for the first time, and people are going to be seeing this for the last time. And that's important for us to recognize that, because we're the model for individuals like Louis Vuitton and others, Prince, that we've worked with. When they see us, they want those HBCU bands. So I would encourage everybody to think about that as they continue to pursue excellence in their programs. The number one thing that anybody that went to Paris at '89 would tell you was the meals were kind of challenging because they eat light. We stayed on the campus, of course, of University of Paris, and the Russian band that was there for the parade did also. But it was just interesting that they eat really lightly over there. And then lo and behold, we found a McDonald's. And it had to be, I know, about maybe 4 or 5 miles away from the university campus. And we all just went running one night once we found that campus, because we didn't have Uber, we didn't have all the other forms of transportation. I mean, we had taxi, but I mean, we were over there in Paris, we just weren't going like that. So we just all huddled up like a family and went to McDonald's and stayed there at least about 3 hours. It took to feed about 200 students that went that night. So I know, to answer your question, I'm going to find some good restaurants when we're there. And of course, have an opportunity to march down the Champs-Élysées was amazing, with all the people following the FAMU band when we were playing the James Brown riffs and doing the moonwalk. So I look forward to, we did ask the individuals that are inviting us there to schedule 2 tours that are going to be, I think it's 2 hours each, and so we're looking forward to those tours and seeing the city in that fashion. You know, we're going to be wearing design costumes, some form of a Louis Vuitton costume with the 35 students performing, but I also told the students and staff that we're going to take our marching band uniforms over there and find maybe another opportunity at some point to perform and or take pictures and document some of the things that we'll be doing. But it's very important for our students and us to realize this is an opportunity to expand the brand, not only at Florida A&M University, but HBCU bands and bands in general.
The Marching 100 is preparing to once again carry the banner of excellence of HBCU bands as they strike in Paris, France.